welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast. Me, Martin Naylor. Scott is here. Welcome, Scott.
Hello, I'm back from my European expedition. Now I'm back on the podcast.
Well, you say European expedition. We described it as fleeing the country due to severe embarrassment. But we'll get onto that in a minute. Liam is also with us. Liam, how are you, mate?
Very well. Very well. How are you two?
I'm good, mate, thanks. You know what, actually? I started one of these water fasts today. That's like, I'm trying to do it for 3 days and spent the whole morning throwing up ridiculously. Because you're meant to take... So I've tried to take Celtic sea salt as like a supplement, and this is meant to keep you more hydrated, and it's really good for your minerals that you're going to be missing and stuff. But I didn't really know how much to take, so I had a tablespoon of Celtic sea salt first thing this morning with like a pint of water.
Tablespoon?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Turns out you need like a quarter of a teaspoon per pint.
It tasted like a cup of seawater.
It was disgusting.
I thought you can't drink salt water, like seawater, actually. I thought that's what everyone always says, that you can't drink.
You definitely can't.
seawater.
Trust. I'm going to back your theory up on this one. Whatever I did, don't do it. It will empty your stomach quicker than it went in.
That's like rule number one of like surviving on a raft. Like, don't drink the seawater, innit?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I'm very susceptible to people who sound smart on YouTube saying stuff and me just doing it.
Why don't you just stop eating and just drink some water?
That's what I did.
Instead of like buying supplements that some nonce has sold you on TikTok or something.
Well, I'm not sure about their nonce status, but they sounded like they knew what they were doing. No, anyway, I just misjudged the dosage. Apparently, this like salt, not like regular table salt, is really good for you.
Sounds it.
Special salt.
Special salt, yeah. You have to get it from this
Protein
really
salt.
one specific guy. Yeah.
It sounds quite good for losing weight if it literally makes you throw up everything that you've had for the last 2
yeah,
days.
wasn't the worst start to a fast, but it sucked big time. And
Is
I
this
wanted to-
what Dana White does?
He did it, yeah. That's where I saw it originally, and then I've tried it a few times, but I've just seen. You know what I saw? My mood would. I'm fine with like being hungry, but my mood would be shit. And when you've got a little one, you don't just want to like be snapping every 5 minutes like some abusive dad who's had too many drinks. So
Too
Yeah,
much sea salt.
too much sea salt will do that as well. So check your recommended dose. It turns out, yeah, a quarter of a teaspoon per pint is what I'm
Did
meant
you
to
not
have.
think putting it in when you were putting it in the glass? Did you not think this doesn't look right? This.
Well, it is the kicker. I felt so. I saw another another TikTok, and they said that you should have that first. Something to do with the way your body absorbs magnesium. This is the stupidest health kick ever, by the way. But something to do with the way your body absorbs magnesium. Like you should put it on your tongue first, and then drink your water. So I had a tablespoon of sea salt on my tongue, trying to down some water.
Is this while you're sat in an ice bath?
I didn't do it in the ice bath. I didn't do it in the ice bath. There's only so many things you can do at once. And throwing up in an ice bath, I can't imagine is a good thing.
I don't want to be in there when that happens.
But the physical reaction was almost immediate. I downed this drink and went straight upstairs. So, anyway, other than that, feel fine. Day one of Waterfast. Liam, League One has come to an end. Bolton are in the playoffs. Do you want to give us your sort of overriding review of the season? Obviously, it's not over now. You're in first, finished third. Give us your thoughts on Bolton Wanderers and how it all ended up.
I think it depends how you look at it. And I've had a few days to digest this now. So I'm a little bit more philosophical than maybe I was in the immediate when it happened. So,
Karma.
of course, it's disappointing that we didn't get automatic promotion. But we do have to look at it in the bigger context of we were the third best team in the league, of a league of 24. And we do have to dust ourselves down and go for the playoffs because theoretically we are the favourites. And we've got to try and make sure that this season is still a success. We can still do that, and we've got to try. But of course, there is a disappointment. We've got to really try and put that in the back of our minds at least another couple of weeks, and think about it then. Really,
yeah. I think that Bolton, or I hope that Bolton, like Ian Evatt and the managing staff, will have been prepared for this rather than had high hopes that they would still go up automatically. I'm sure that was like a dream scenario, but realistically, it's looked like the playoffs for quite a minute now. So I'm hoping that they're just prepared. They've finished the season well, last couple of games, and so yeah, I'm just hoping that that's the way it goes for you.
Yeah, I think in terms of preparation for playoffs, it's been pretty good. And now we've got an away tie first on Friday night against Barnsley, 7:30 kickoff. Hopefully, I can get tickets. They go on sale tomorrow, so we'll see. We'll see if I can get those. I went last year, watched us lose there. Actually, I did in the semi-finals last year, so it's a repeat of last year's game. But I think we're a better team than then, and I think they're a worse team. So, and there wasn't much in it then, so we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Where did you finish last year? Did you finish 6th or 7th last year?
5th.
6th. Oh, right, okay.
5th. 5th.
Right.
And Barnsley finished 4th. So it's 4th versus 5th last year. Now we're finished 3rd. So, that constant improvement continuing, but obviously it would have been nice to finish one place higher. As I did promise Luke that we would, of course.
Yeah.
He likes to,
So something's gone on with your control over the Bolton Wanderers first team there, I think. Probably needs to. We should address why Luke's not here, actually. He had that competition, his fell run this weekend, the Three Peaks Challenge. Unfortunately, he didn't win. He actually fell down a well. So he'll still be there now, probably. And we wishing the best that he gets out safe. I don't really know what happens on the felt. It's a lonely place up there, mountains. Scott, talk to us about Chelsea. Bit of a up and down time since we last spoke to you.
Yeah. I don't think you guys covered the cup semi-final in the last podcast where I was slandered horrendously, which maybe we'll cover if we get the time. But thought we made somewhat what I thought would happen. We made a pretty good account of ourselves against City with clinical centre forward. Would have won that game probably by a couple of goals. But that's been the story of Chelsea for a good few years now. We get to big games and we just aren't clinical enough to get the job done. So can't say I was massively surprised at that, but a good cup run nonetheless. The Villa game, first half was shocking, absolutely terrible from players, manager alike. Second half was pretty much the polar opposite. I actually have to give Pochettino credit. He completely changed the system. Went from a back 4-2-3 and did the old inverted wing back with Cucurella, which he did in pre-season and worked really well, and then just abandoned it completely from day one of the season. Everything he did well in pre-season, he just fucked off from day one. And
good time to bring it back 3 games before the end of the season.
Yeah. It's only took dropped about 1,000 points between then and now, but yeah, a really good one. I guess one thing I will say that Poch has done that we didn't have last season, he's brought a little bit of bottle, somewhat. Last season, if we'd have gone down in any game, we were never. I don't think we came from behind to win any game last season. This year, it's been very much the opposite. If we do go down, we've shown that we've got some fight and we've got something in us to get back into a game. And we're actually, I'd say on reflection, quite unlucky not to come away with the win, with our favourite official, the VAR, stepping in and taking that away from us. I think when I first looked at it, I thought it was pretty I thought it was pretty obvious it was a foul, but the more I've looked at it, the more I've seen it, the more I'm questioned as to why VAR was even looking at it in the first place.
We'll talk about VAR in a bit, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, Liam, if there's I wonder if Scott's missing a game in between the FA Cup semi-final and the Villa game. I'm just trying to.
You know what? This is going to sound like bullshit. I genuinely forgot that you battered us the other day. I forgot there was a game in between.
You're always going to lose that game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, having said that, when we played you at Stamford Bridge, we should have won that game. We gifted you a point in that game. We bottled it. We were the better team. We were by far the better team in that game. Going to the Emirates was always going to be tough, but as we'd seen in other games in the season, when we come up against teams who are far better than us, we seem to play up to our opposition rather than maintaining a certain level. But I also can't say I was that surprised by the scoreline.
Yeah.
I was the main thing I was most annoyed about is that we just battered Everton 6-0, got a really nice goal difference, and then we just pissed it all away playing you lot. So yeah, not a good day.
Liam, shall we touch on? I do want to touch on VAR a little bit later on, and referees, because that seems to be the only thing that anyone is concerned about fixing at the moment when there's a million other things. But Liam, do you want to touch on Man United and their struggles? Oh, in fact, we will talk about Man United in a sec. Scott, what did you think of the Thiago Silva news today?
Expected, and yeah, it's hard to really have a an amazing controversial opinion on it. It's the right time. Doesn't seem like he's ready to finish playing yet. I think he's going to do one more year somewhere else. He wants to come back to Chelsea in another capacity when his playing career's over, which is nice.
Yeah, he said he's leaving. He didn't say he's retiring at 40 or whatever he is.
Yeah, I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if it's like like Brazilian, South American players. They like going back to whatever club they started at. Like going back to, I don't even know where that is. But it's sad to see him go. We'll miss his experience. I think he's been excellent for us since I had very low expectations when we signed him at 36 years old on a 1-year deal. And I think some of the performances he's put in at his age, I mean, even if he was in his prime, he's played very well. But when you factor in he's been in his mid to late 30s all the time he's been with us, and he's pushing 40 now, I think he's been fantastic. And it'll be a big loss for us in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Although I do agree that as well his time is up, so it's probably even a season overdue, if anything. But it is what it is. It's been good for you, Liam.
Yeah.
While Luke's not here, and he can't give us his usual optimism about everything Man United, what? First of all, did you see it, and what did you make of their performance this weekend? Another pretty shitty draw, really.
I did see most of it, sort of about the first 60 minutes before, I'll be honest, I got bored. Which is weird because I'm being told that that's the most entertaining side in the league, according to Ten Hag.
Apparently so.
Well, I mean, I've enjoyed this season.
Yeah, it's been fun for me.
Yeah, so I don't disagree. I think Ten Hag's trying to get sacked, to be honest now. I think he's in a position where he wants the payoff, and essentially he's just trying to sound as deluded as possible.
Really? Do you really think that?
Yeah. Or he's just weird and getting really Mourinho-esque, where he's completely away from reality. Like, does he really think people want to wear that? That Man United fans, after drawing at home with Burnley, want to hear how entertaining it is?
It's a weird statement to come after drawing to Burnley.
It's just, but every game is another one now. And he's not been like this the whole time he's been there. It's just every game now, it's just a weirder statement about how well they've played. And I just, I don't know. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I get the feeling he wants to be sacked. They were awful. And they're awful every week. They're getting worse.
Did you see the news today? So this is Monday the 29th. That apparently, according to Ineos Insiders, which is the way you get United news these days, is that every Man United player bar 3 is up for sale.
You say which 3?
Mainu, Garnacho, and Hoyland.
The only three anyone would want.
Yeah.
Well, apart from Hoyland, I don't think anyone would want Hoyland.
Yeah. That's true.
They'd be taking a loss right now, but you can see that. You can see why it would be one they'd want to keep hold of.
Suppose. I think
Just
if
some
someone.
investment.
I was going to say, I think if someone offered the money they paid for him now, do you think they'd take it? I think they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, but it's a pointless statement because everyone's for sale, aren't they? Like, everyone has the price. They say Mainu's not for sale, but if Real Madrid offered him 150 million for Mainu tomorrow, they'd sell him.
Yeah. It's more like realistically, innit? It's more putting people in the shop window. I suspect people like Rashford would probably appear as like an unrealistic target for most teams. I know he's been linked with PSG randomly and stuff, but I don't think there's been anything concrete there. And like news like this coming out puts people in the shop window especially for agents to start.
I didn't hear this news, but now you mentioned Rashford, it's like because it's just a pointless statement. Like everyone's for fucking sale. It's just a pointless thing to say. But then you mentioned Rashford, and I think, did he just mean Rashford to sale? Is that basically without naming him because it feels wrong? Are they basically just trying to sell Rashford here?
Maybe. Bruno was named as well, as in another person who was probably perceived as untouchable.
What is he, 30? Bruno Fernandes now?
He's getting there if he's not already.
Yeah. Is he untouchable?
Well, he's captain, isn't he? And he's the best player. So you'd think that comes with a price tag that would be crazy. It would be crazy money to go and sign Bruno Fernandes.
His positional discipline is half the problem there.
It's ridiculous.
He has no sense of where he should be, and it essentially disrupts all the midfield. Especially if you consider the other two midfielders in that game were Eriksen and Casemiro, who I don't want to see run. I'd be worried if they did see them running, either of them. I'd be worried for both of them. So, what kind of midfield is that?
Yeah.
It's no... Like, Josh Brownhill had the freedom of Old Trafford.
It's mad.
It's embarrassing. That's the biggest club in the world, Luke will tell us. But
anyone that can get hold of. Well, anyone that can get hold of us tells that. Yeah, I think they're just ending the season with a whimper, and knowing my luck, they'll turn up at Old Trafford in 2 weeks' time and stop us from potentially winning the league. Yeah.
It's a weird statement, though, to try and... Because aren't you then essentially not giving yourself any negotiating room as a selling club? Saying, oh, yeah, we want to sell all these. It's the same position we find ourselves in, because if everyone knows that Chelsea need money, you then don't have as much bargaining power. And maybe on the back of the season Rashford's had, maybe you want to be a bit more on the front foot and you aren't going to get many people knocking on the door. But
yeah, I think it's different for United. I think United know that they're not going to get top whack. I mean, I can't remember United ever getting top whack for a player. Like, whenever they sell.
Well,
not since Fergie used to hype up the academy players.
But typically it's the peak of people's career. So they're not going most places up from Man United.
True.
I mean, who would you say is the most valuable asset, aside from Rashford, that they've mentioned for sale?
Good question.
I'd probably say McTominay.
McTominay, because of his academy status as well, would go down as like pure profit as well. So
I think he's a good Premier League.
On the books.
I think he's a good Premier League player with pace. He's able to run. He can score goals. He can tackle. I think he's a good Premier League player. So I think after him, who else? Mason Mount, maybe?
Sancho. Probably holds.
Sancho, good shout.
I'm not sure though. Yeah, I could just see a lot of them in the window.
Saka, maybe? The, in quotation mark, best one-on-one defender in the league.
Yeah, I remember that.
Fun statement.
They were good days.
Scott, what did you make of the perceived end of Liverpool's title race? We'll move on from Man United.
Yeah. I thought it was a terrible result for Liverpool. Like, a team that I'm told by their own fan base, are absolutely shocking. And the manager needs to go and everything's falling apart. They got an excellent result against a team who I thought it was written in the stars for them to win the league. I thought the Klopp farewell tour was nailed on. It was going to end in the league title, and the bottling it. And I think it shows that. I thought what I thought was really bizarre is Mo Salah not playing. I don't understand how Mo Salah is quite clearly the best player at Liverpool. And I'm told the best winger who's ever graced the Premier League. So I'm told. Not that I agree with that, but you're in a title running and you don't start your best player, your goal machine. You leave him on the bench. And by all accounts, he was fit. Why else would he wouldn't have been on the bench if he weren't fit? I just don't understand what the logic was there. I don't understand why Klopp's just seemingly to me just threw the towel in and thought, "Fuck it, we can't win it anyway. I may as well give him a rest." It was weird.
I hope Klopp's just been looking at it that Salah just hasn't been that good since he's come back from injury in the second half of the season. But the flip side of that is he is Mo Salah, so he'll always be with a chance of scoring goals and be up there with creating your best chances. So
yeah,
but
he's not been at his best. But if you look at who else they have to score goals, you'd rather take a out of form Salah over Gakpo, Nunez, whoever else they've got. Luis Diaz. He's still better than all them. It was really bizarre. I thought it was really interesting the little spat him and Klopp had at the side of the pitch. I don't really know what was said there and what that was all over. I heard something. It's about how long it took Salah to get ready to come on, and while he was waiting to come on, West Ham scored. So, I don't know what that was all about. Clearly not all rosy in the camp, but Klopp's fucking off anyway, so I don't think Salah's going to care. Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. I put it in the group the other day. Send in 200 million quid for him this year, and he's 31, and they're not even starting him in a title running. It's baffling. Don't know what's going on there.
Interesting. I did predict that Liverpool's legs would fall off, and I think they've sort of hit the wall. You can see their form in the last couple of months. They've just scraped wins when they needed to, and had quite a few draws. If people talk about Arsenal bottling it from being top of the league, they were also 10 points clear at the top of the league at one point. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I just think they've. I don't know, injuries. I don't think this team was ever really ready for Liverpool to. No. And what they've got, how they've got to the position they have has been great. And the fact that they're probably going to miss out on the title. Like, if we didn't know this was Klopp's last season, we'd think, oh, they're in a great position for next year. And now it just sort of seems to be like all coming to a head, the fact that Klopp's leaving and they aren't going to get that title again. It's hard to see where it comes from again with another manager.
Yeah, it'd be a very interesting summer to see what they do, because I do think there'll be a bid for Salah.
I could see that coming.
I could see maybe them still getting a decent whack for him to make Saudi happen. I can very much see that still happening. And then it's, what do you do then? Because I think I won't say they've sorted the midfield problem, but the midfield looks a lot better.
Yeah.
But the defence is pretty good still. I would say, personally. Obviously, the main two, Van Dijk and Konate, and then you've got Kwanzaa, who's been, I think, a very competent third choice, and Joe Gomez potentially, and on the right backs, you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. They look pretty good there. So it's just forwards, isn't it? And
yeah, but it's also what Klopp himself brings to that. Like, they are very much his team, and everyone is built in that mould. So all that being untied by a new manager, we've seen it before when someone great and really successful steps out. That it's not like you just go and fill his seat and let him carry on doing what they're doing. It never really works like that.
Yeah,
I think now they're just okay now. Like you mentioned the midfield there. I think the midfield's all right, but that's all it is. I don't think it's. The hell was that?
William, don't be a cunt just because I can't hear him. It was you. It comes up on your face.
Sorry.
I can't remember where I was now. Oh yeah, Liverpool midfield. It's just okay. It's not going toe to toe with Man City or even Arsenal, who in that area of the field which is so important. And losing Klopp means they also lose all their inhalers, which is going to be a big struggle for everybody.
I wonder if their asthma issues clear up when Klopp leaves.
I'm sure magically they'll all be cured within the next 3 to 4 months.
Allegedly. You're covered. You're covered if you say allegedly.
I mean, it's written down in a lot of places.
I'm not sure about that, but okay.
What about that legal advice? Right. So title race seems down to 2. City can't stop them. Arsenal's got to win every game, which will be 16 plus a draw out of the last 20 games, which is mental. To win 16 out of your last 18 games and still not win the league is like insane, and I don't know. It's shit that we're in this world where City are just gonna steamroll everything. Liam, did you watch the North London derby this weekend?
I did watch the North London derby this weekend. Yes.
I put in the group, but I was very surprised when we went 3-0 up. I would have bit your hand off for 1-0 to take that away and win the game. To be 3-0 up at like 35 minutes.
See,
I was like, oh my God, it's going to be 10 this.
I don't get this.
I was very surprised. I'll go first, Scott. I was very surprised with this narrative that Tottenham were playing well. Tottenham were doing exactly what Tottenham always do, which is exactly what Arsenal wanted them to do.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about mid-match. Like, this wasn't a feeling. Just the fact that we were 3-0 up at all. I thought the match was going like you said, and I'm sure you'll describe now. But the fact that we were 3-0 up at any point during this match was surprising. I'd have bit your hand off for it.
No, you're a very good team. Like, you're very much capable of doing this against anyone. Tottenham are a good team, and you're a very good team. You created 3 very good chances and scored 3 very good goals. It's not that much of a surprise. Even the Højbjerg own goal was a very good ball into the box, into an area that you were targeting. In an area where Tottenham are weak, which is set pieces right on top of Vicario.
Yeah.
And the other area which they were weak, which was Ben Davies at left back, you let Tottenham come onto you and essentially did them on the long ball so you could expose him to Saka. Like, it wasn't rocket science. It was just a team that knew what they were doing. It was really good. And you're capable of doing that. It's not... I'm surprised that you say you're surprised, because this is what... You are a very good team now.
I thought Tottenham would be more motivated to stop us rather than going for the kill from the first minute.
But that's it. They can't stop you. If they'd have sat back against you, you'd have picked them off in a different way. They can't just change the way they play in this one-off occasion. They're not ready to do that. That team is still...
No.
Like, that team is 2-3 years away. You can see, if we're talking about Tottenham for a minute, you can see what Postecoglou's trying to do. I mean, he has his best 11. In a lot of ways, they're actually very good. Like, that high line does work with Van de Ven and Romero. It does work. That wasn't the issue. Strangely, even though they conceded 3, that was rock solid in the game.
Yeah.
You can see how dynamic they are when they're going forward. I think losing Werner was struggle for them, because I feel like he was the outlet. They were hoping to use him to drag them up the pitch. So I think him going off injured struggled with them, but Højbjerg midfield just does not work for them. They need far more pace. They need someone with more zip, not only in terms of getting around the pitch, but in how he plays the ball. Everything takes hours with him. I feel like I'm slowly dying when I'm watching Højbjerg turn on the ball. So he needs all his own players. It's still an early project. You would beat a team like that for me. Don't know what you think, Scott.
You pretty much took a lot of the words out of my mouth. Like, when you said that you were surprised that it was 3, and I was like, why? Like, you're infinitely better than Spurs are.
It's more like...
I don't think...
Go on. No, you go.
I'm I don't prescribe to this narrative that Arsenal are this world-beating side. I actually think you're benefiting a lot from most of the teams around you being terrible. You know, there's no Man United anymore. There's no Chelsea anymore. Liverpool aren't who they were. You're pretty much only competing with City. And granted, you've put some good pieces in place for that. But yeah, there's nobody else really near you other than them. So I don't know why you weren't expecting it to be a battering, because I'm going to somewhat go counter to what Liam said. I don't think Spurs are good at all. I think tactically they're very naive. They play this high line regardless of who they play, which I think is. I think the suggestion that you can't change your tactics for a one-off game isn't the case. I think you can, and great managers often do that and play to their opposition. Granted, you need some of the right personnel, and I know they've not had their strongest 11, but play the way that they did against a team who is so much better. You've got to know when that isn't the right thing to do. You saw it against, like, obviously I watch every Spurs game that comes across, but they got praised when we played them for this high line, even though they were down to 9 men, and it was embarrassing to watch just how naive they are and how poor I think Postecoglou actually is. Time will tell. Maybe over the coming years he will prove me wrong, but I think you're so much better than Spurs are. I don't think they're a very good team at all. I think 3-0 was probably quite fortunate for them. It should have been more.
I think 3-2 definitely flattered them. Going off what actually happened in the match, we give them 2 goals. But yeah, it's more the surprise comes from a lifetime of being an Arsenal fan, shit usually going wrong for you when it's meant to go right. So when things are, it's like, oh, we planned for this to happen and it's actually happening. It was like that.
It's too quiet.
Yeah. So we give him 2 goals. Liam made my weekend with the comment in the group about Declan Rice's challenge on, I think it was with Ben Davis, I think. He's absolutely volleyed him in the cock and balls. How's that not a penalty?
Yeah, just like, I get, there's a lot of moan about VAR over the weekend, but it got 2 decisions right in that game. Bang on. I saw Postecoglou on a bit. I thought, Michael Oliver didn't give that penalty, and it was a yard away from him, and he probably heard his bullet crushing. like sometimes, like, it's like you can say, "Oh, that's why I don't celebrate things." Like, what are you on about? Like, it was offside, the goal. Granted, it was closer than I thought.
Yeah,
but then that penalty wasn't given, and then they give it, and it's fair enough, innit? Like,
no, you're right. Like, this is my issue with VAR this week. And we could talk about the Chelsea one as well that Scott mentioned before. But like you said, Michael Oliver he's 3 yards away from there. He heard the innards of Ben Davis get jiggled around for a minute. And he waved no penalty. He did the signal, no penalty. He was looking straight. He couldn't not have seen it. He was closer than anyone else. He was closer than any VAR camera can get. And he says no penalty. Now, yes, like me and Scott were talking about this yesterday, but yes, it's there for what they describe as howlers. It's there for howlers' decisions. And I get that it is a penalty. But at what point is VAR re-reffing this thing for us? In the same way that, and a little bit like the Badiashile, was it Badiashile goal, Scott?
Mm-hmm. Disasi goal, but Badiashile was the player who was judged to have committed the foul.
In that scenario, the referee said play on. And he's looking straight at it. He's again 5-6 yards away. He's clearer than anyone. It's pure line of sight. He's waved play on. He's refereeing this game. And this late decision making.
Oh,
I understand what you're going to say. That yes, I get right.
Are you suggesting that the Declan Rice one wasn't a clear and obvious error?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
It sounds like that.
No, I'm not. It was a penalty.
And I don't
wish for any man to suffer what Ben Davis had to go through.
He already had bad enough day, hadn't he? And he didn't need that.
No, listen, I'm not saying. I think both decisions were right in the end. What I am concerned about and what this is going to get to It's fucking Mike Dean bots that we spoke about. It's just getting people in a van 100 mile away refereeing the game. Like, I don't care either way. We won the game, we didn't win the game, whether we get our penalty or not, it's fine. It's a penalty against us. What I'm concerned about is why we're letting VAR re-referee this. Michael Oliver clearly, it's not like he said, oh, let me think about it, let me see it. Michael Oliver clearly said no penalty to that. And someone's gone, hey up mate, that's definitely a penalty.
I think you're talking at your ass.
Why? Why should we let VAR re-referee get... Do you know what I'm trying to say here?
I see what you're saying, but I think it's based on this scenario.
I don't know what you're on about. Like, what do you want it to do? God, well, we can't use VAR this time.
I don't want it to exist.
Because Michael Oliver's seen it, so it can't go back. What are you on about? It's a clear and obvious error. This is what it's there for. And the Barry Shile one, I think it's hard not to give that as a foul, to be honest. I get Scott's frustration with that decision, particularly given the moment of the game. And Chelsea very much deserves to win that game. I do agree. But it's probably a foul. Like, it's probably a foul.
This is why I think it was different, is because anywhere else on the pitch, that Declan Rice one is a foul, regardless of where it happens. And I think if that is a contested ball on the halfway line, for example, with Badiashile and I think it was Diego Carlos, it's probably not getting given anywhere else on the pitch. I think that is contentious.
I agree. They're not comparable fouls. Like Declan Rice, he couldn't give more of a foul without getting booked. Like, he's like a super foul.
Yeah. That's a foul in prison football. That's like even too far for them.
Yeah.
But listen, no. My point is about letting VAR referee the game rather than the men on the pitch. The referee has not seen them. They're not sneaky elbows behind people's back. They're not in a big crowd of people. The referees are closer than any other person in the world to these actions, with clear lines of sight, and we're letting.
But even if I entertain this stupid idea, he gets to see it on the screen himself. So he goes and has another look and goes, "Fucking hell, what was I thinking?"
Yeah, because someone in his ear has gone, "Hey up, mate, that's a penalty. That I've got a bet. I've got 3-2 bet on here."
What?
Even I'm not going to go that far and suggest that.
Listen, I'm not going that. I'm not going down this corruption route. I'm sick of that. That was a joke. Calm it down. But no, I don't like it how we're letting VAR be the main guy on the pitch. Can you not see where I'm coming from here?
No.
Why?
The reason I somewhat can is because I think referees need to have. Has there even been an instance where a ref's gone to the monitor and stuck with what he originally said and not taken what we believe is the advice?
I can't remember the exact instance. There has been a couple. Not many though. Yeah,
it's rare. I think I don't have an issue with VAR coming into the game and pointing out the penalty in the Arsenal Spurs game. It's right that should happen, because in another scenario, let's say, you and Spurs are going for a title fight in a cup final, you want to get those decisions right. But I think there are some scenarios where refs just have no spine and will just say, oh, yeah, whatever you say, man, in the Stockley Park or in the transit van outside the ground, wherever they sit. I think that's where it comes in. I think they're a little bit too quick to say, oh, I got it wrong, rather than just sticking with what they saw. But I think the Arsenal one was, I don't see why there's any complaints about it. It was the clear and obvious error. That was one of those. That was so clearly
it's not,
one
Liam.
of those.
It's nothing to do with Arsenal or anything. I'm on about the referee. Like, what did Michael Oliver think happened there? Well, it happened 1 foot away from him.
People make mistakes. This is it. There's no perfect referee. Michael Oliver's the best referee in England. By a country fucking mile, he's the best.
He had a good game.
He's a very good referee. And things happen quickly. You make mistakes. In the pressure moment, when you're actually the one making the decision, like you see people on quiz shows that go on there and they're like, oh, fucking hell, I can't remember what the name of the Queen is. Like, people freeze up in pressure situations. That's why VAR was brought in to help. This is actually the exact reason we brought VAR in. This is why I'm finding this difficult, because for all the talk about VAR, this to me is the epitome of why it was brought in. Because people genuinely make mistakes. Even people that are good at stuff make mistakes.
It's one of the rare cases of it actually being correct as well. Usually we're complaining because the VAR is wrong. This time it was absolutely spot on.
I'd love to have heard that.
It's
I'd love to
corruption
then release
because
the
they've
audio.
used it appropriately against Arsenal. That's what it is now.
It's nothing to
They
do
don't
with
use it
Arsenal.
appropriately against anyone else.
Stop being this crazy idiot who just waffles on mic, spouting absolute.
It's hard not to be like that when you.
Because you're a crazy idiot in real life as well, not just on
wrong.
podcast. I'm not saying this is wrong. I said it was the right decision. I said it was a penalty all day. What I am concerned about is robots taking over, and I'm not here for that.
That's fair. That is a concern. I was watching The Matrix again over the weekend.
Just to help you sleep.
If life is a simulation, it's a fucking boring simulation, isn't it? Like, they could have made it well more interesting.
It's not over yet, Liam.
Well, that's why
you go on like we're right close to the end. We're in our prime. Peak years these. The start of our billionaire podcast empire.
It's a fucking depressing thought if these are my peak years.
Well, listen, while we're talking about referees and stuff, what do you make of that every decision? This is aside from my point, because this is not what I'm saying. I'm against VAR. I'm not against Michael Oliver or the decision or anything to do with Arsenal. I'm against VAR. I always have been, and I probably always will be. But what do you make of the corruption slang and the word corruption that gets thrown about a lot when there is poor decisions? When did a poor decision in a match become corruption? It's a big sort of statement.
I'll let you take this one, Scott. This is right in your sort of flat earther territory.
I am the designated flat earther of the Fixing Football podcast. So, yeah, I will take this one. I guess where that will start, it will probably be when someone starts to notice a bit of a correlation between a certain team getting certain decisions their way. That's how these things start to snowball.
Forest fans have been at it this week. That's why it's come up a lot.
Yeah, and I think the reason I'm not really against what Forest have come out and done is because I almost feel like it's people's knee-jerk reaction to say, "Oh, you can't say that." It's what we should live in a world where you can call that kind of stuff out, and it shouldn't be. Probably the reason why most of the world is fucked is probably because it's not the dumb thing to call out people's integrity. There's a lot of people in powerful positions who don't have a lot of integrity and will just do what they want. So I don't think it's wrong just as a blanket to, if you see something that's not right, to say, hold on. Because we like, I heard you guys talking about it on the last one, talking about how it's checked about what officials support, who do the refs support, where are they from, and all that sort of stuff. So if Forest have allegedly raised this as a concern, why was it not? I mean, I think I heard that maybe they didn't. I think, did the PGMOL dispute that or something? I think.
Yeah, I was just reading. It's actually just while we're talking about it, it's just literally reading the independent panel's findings on those 3 penalty decisions. And the independent panel, which is made up of 3 former players and 2 coaches, isn't it? Yep. So 3 former players, a representative from the Premier League and 1 from PGMOL. This panel of 5 have found that of these 3 penalty decisions, only 1 really should have definitely gone to VAR to be overruled. And it's the tackle late on in the second half on Hudson-Odoi by Young. The other 2, they say that they've both been ruled at 3-2 decisions on the panel and 5-0 unanimously that they weren't clear and obvious errors. So it's only the 3rd one. So of them 3, it looks like there's only one of the decisions that this independent panel believes should have definitely been referred, and I think I agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, the final one was definitely, like when I saw the 3, then talk about the third and final, that was 100% a fail. But to what you're originally asking about, where does it start? It's a bit of a mixture. It'll be you'll see, like we talk, Fergie time's a bit of a a famous thing. Like, where did that start to come from? Why did Man United always used to get really long added time that they would always conveniently score in? And that mixed with, your own tribalism towards your own team. When it's your team that suffers at the hands of that, you then start to, some of it's said tongue in cheek, but I'm remain to this day convinced that Anthony Taylor makes it his mission to send a Chelsea player off every time that he refs out a game. And because the thing is, it's like, I think I've seen on Twitter, there's like a 5.5 minute compilation of his errors in our games. It's like, it shouldn't even be possible to do that. There shouldn't be that many against one team for you to find. So where naturally then your brain starts to, to take over and say, oh, it's the world's against us, because you want to believe that. So whether it's really happening or not is another story. But I do think it's right. I don't think Forest should be called out for questioning someone's integrity, because not everybody is this honourable, decent person doing the right thing and being ultimately professional. I'd argue that a good half people out there aren't doing that at all and would abuse their position. So I think it's fair. I think they should call it out.
I don't know what corruption even looks like in terms of refereeing and stuff like that. How would that even manifest itself? Just them picking and choosing which games they want to affect and stuff like that?
Script writers of the Premier League.
The script writers are in.
Would pass down the script and say, right, this is where it needs to go.
No one's ever claimed to be on the good end of this script, have they? They're always the ones that are getting fucked over. No one's ever like why would the Premier League want City to win the league every year? Like,
if you're on the good end of it, you keep quiet. Maybe when you've got 115 charges against you, you don't say anything.
Which is ironic, because City do win the league every year, yet everyone is somehow against them. Like, there's that weird paradox of the world's against us, yet we get everything in our favour. Like, something has to start making sense somewhere, and with them, it does not.
Oh, this is the classic. This is the Newcastle thing, isn't it? There's this cartel of clubs that are protecting themselves with money, and somehow Newcastle with a Saudi wealth fund isn't in this cartel. Like, do you know what I mean? They're just fucking nonsense.
Cartel, the big six.
You need to elaborate, Liam, instead of huffing into the mic and throwing your head into your hands.
There's no corruption.
Also, how would Spurs be in this cartel as well? How the hell do Spurs buy a way into this supposed cartel?
Levy's just got a way in, and he's just in. He just hides, doesn't say anything, and hangs around the right people. For the record, I don't believe there is corruption or anything like that going on at a refereeing level anyway. So it's quite painful watching, especially on our Twitter feed, which is a host of footballing fans up and down the country. Just every wrong decision is, it's corrupt. It's a corrupt system. That wasn't offside. That was a throw into us, not them. It's corrupt. The whole system is corrupt.
Toxic that Twitter feed is. Honestly, when I'm on it, I'm like, when there's a game on, it's like, this is outrageous. Like,
it's a miserable place, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's certain fans that are the worst, and I think I'm going to put City right up there on our Twitter feed. I've noticed this on the Twitter feed. They are the worst for, like, the amount of how reactionary they are to what's going on in front of them. Like, you see, like, I want like Kyle Walker to be sold this summer. He's fucking useless just because like he misses one tackle or something. They are the worst. Honestly, I never knew how bad they were until we had this Twitter account.
Well, that leads me on nicely. So we're going to be starting a Discord community soon, Liam. It's currently in the works, yeah. And people who want to talk sense, cool stuff about making this game better are more than welcome to join. But we'll release more details about that in the near future. I think we'll call it there, lads.
Who's managing that then?
Luke. You're not here, you get all the jobs.
I agree. I agree. Definitely Luke.
He's been after a technical role within the podcast anyway, so
I thought he was the head of the metaverse, wasn't he? I thought that was what he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's sort of in the maybe pile at the moment. Our meta what's the word? Presence. Our meta presence is on the shelf for the moment. But Discord will be a real thing, and we want to build a community of, like-minded
Discordians.
people. Who, I don't think we can call ourselves the Discordians, but we could do.
Discordians of the Galaxy.
I don't hate that.
Why can't we call ourselves that? That sounds fucking great.
I feel like
Best
it would
thing I've
have
ever come
already
up with.
been taken. It is the maybe the highlight of your whole podcasting career. So, the Discordians of the Galaxy, if you would like to join and fight evil, such as VAR and corruption, and them pesky round earthers,
Idiots. Absolute morons. I think the Earth's round.
Right, we'll leave it there, boys. Thanks very much for joining us. We got all our episodes are at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com. You can find all the links to all the episodes and all our social media on there. And if you want to get involved in super toxic Twitter, that's at fixingfootball. And please do get involved, because that's where you'll find all our latest information of new stuff coming out. And we will catch you soon.
Very fair takes on Newcastle, I think we'll find as well.
I think we're quite down the line. Don't seem to lean one side. Despite what people think, we're quite down the line on Twitter. People think we are a biased Twitter account.
Newcastle. Great fans, great stadium.
Anyway, we'll leave it there, boys. See you soon. Bye.
See you in a bit.